Matt, are you familiar with the concept of peak oil?
No, I have no idea.
Well, it's a theory that there's a finite amount of oil on Earth and eventually production will start to decline and will run out.
Oh, okay. Good to know. Yeah, I had no idea.
We're in Berkeley, California. We're talking U.S. energy supply, peak oil. What if oil went away? What if gasoline were $10 a gallon? Are there solutions to these looming problems? We're going to find out what the people of Berkeley have to say about it. Are you familiar with the concept of peak oil?
Yes.
Do you think that that's a problem we're going to be facing in the near future?
You know, a lot of it is an illusion. I don't want to say perpetrated by the little.
Yes, most certainly.
Probably not in the near future.
Yeah, absolutely. It's basic Malthusian stuff. That makes sense, yeah.
Yes, I do.
Oh, yes, I do.
After oil prices reach a certain peak, that no longer will the infrastructure be able to keep up with it. But we can't really predict the sorts of advances needed in infrastructure, for example, to drill like in oil shales or extremely deep water drilling, etc. I think it's difficult to assess even the extent of reserves right now when we can't really assess what sort of technology we'll be using to find them. So,
I believe that.
No, what I'm saying is that we need to go to green energy, period. And this has gone on far too long. There's an invasion of the Native American lands. There's horses being removed from Nevada for no discernible reason.
Do you see any viable replacements to America's oil consumption?
No. Wind, nuclear, and so on. But I think solar has probably got the best hope in terms of just the sheer amount of that's out there in the sky.
Some more inventors.
Nuclear power, if we could exploit that a little more.
Well, more sophisticated battery options for sure.
It's like, how about electricity?
Tomorrow.
And what would that source be?
Well, what do you think it would be?
like electric technologies, electric cars. We see that, for example, in Israel or in other places where they're using battery-operated vehicles and they have very advanced battery switching technologies, etc.
Solar, wind, sea power.
And do you think the U.S. economy could function without oil?
That's a tough one.
No. I think I don't know how it would.
The U.S. economy function without oil. Man can do anything he wants to do.
Probably not.
I think in the long term we would, but I can foresee some problems in the short term considering how our infrastructure is set up.
I think in its present state, no way. I don't think anybody would disagree with that, unless, of course, you guys do.
It's all about you. Are you in favor of exploring for more oil here in the U.S.?
I would say the short answer to that is no.
Depends on where.
I'd rather support alternatives, to be sure.
Let's say in Alaska, for example.
No.
Well, if there is the oil, I guess we might as well use it.
Gulf of Mexico?
No.
Some people are saying that if it gets worse, takes a turn for the worse, spirals out of control, that will mean $10 a gallon gasoline at the pump. What do you think the immediate effects of that would be?
I think a lot of people would be screaming. I'm not that worried. I'm old enough that I've been in lines trying to get gasoline when we had disruptions in the Middle East before. I think it would tell people that we shouldn't rely on oil, and that's a good thing. So I'd actually welcome at least a short-term problem in that area.
You know, in Europe, people swallowed it and kept on driving, so I'm a little cynical about people stopping driving, but we'll see.
The price of everything in the United States would go up. Food, airfare, wow. It seems like a lot of goods that we take for granted would be out of reach of the most people.
Well, certainly less people would I think, be able to buy fuel for their vehicles, but I think that writ large in America would be pretty disastrous.
Oh, traumatic, right? I mean, in some sense, for so many people, you know, the notion of having to use their car to work is fundamental, and then when you start having to impose those type of costs, people end up having to turn down jobs who are further away from their homes than they would like. I mean, I see this all the time. Again, being in Champaign-Urbana, where I live, the nearby communities are relatively not that wealthy, and you got a lot of folks that drive into Champaign to do their jobs. Well, they're barely breaking even, as with the cost of gasoline being what it is. So when it goes up, and $10 would be just dramatic, these people would have trouble making it.
Oh my, that would big time. I mean, I'm struggling as it is with the price of gas as it is right now.
I mean, we already see that oil futures, as a result of the conflict in Libya, are at like a record high right now. And I think it's it's proven by the news. But I think that a lot of our foreign relations with a lot of Middle Eastern countries, take Saudi Arabia or other places like that, Iran or Libya, are largely based on resource dependence. And I think that's a major problem. I think that we're not able to treat them as neutral allies if they were to be, or potentially enemies if we're dependent on them for any one particular resource. So I think that gives certain countries an inordinate amount of power, which is particularly dangerous.
It would be disastrous. I mean, we are already in deep problem with as it is, and if that raises that much, definitely would be disastrous for people, average people like us.
Okay. Some people are saying that this could escalate out of control, threatening our fuel supplies, sending energy costs soaring, and crashing the economy. Do you have any thoughts on that?
I don't know. I mean, it's terrible. Is the government, is no one preparing for this? How does the Obama administration, for example, are they doing anything to prepare for this, like you're saying? Are they not even aware that it's going to be of this magnitude?
Excellent commentary. Thank you very much. Thank you.